Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Coming in, sit on down. It's time for another episode of the Truther Therapy Sessions. And what are we on now? Episode 104. I'm just going to stop counting. It is what it is now. We're going to do this forever. Here's to 200. But yeah, sorry I'm late, guys. It's and I mean that literally. I'm days late. It's Wednesday. I would normally be doing this on a Sunday evening, but just one thing after another has been happening in this household, which has just meant I cannot do this stream in the evening. And you know, there's many ways I could describe why this has been happening, but I think I could just simply sum it up with one word: kids. Am I right? And that's it. That's all I can really say. And hopefully we can have this live stream with no hiccups and no issues, nothing at all. And we can do this now finally and say what should have been said on Sunday, today on Wednesday instead. But I made it finally. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. I really appreciate it. So before this live stream, I actually have already been talking to somebody for an hour. Michael or Mike of Stellium 7 YouTube channel. He's just published his book, The Hacker Prince, and he gave me a bit of a breakdown, kind of summary of what the book's about and what his story is, his autobiographical story. And it turns out hidden depths to this guy, who's normally known online for talking about biogeology and all sorts of very interesting things. It turns out as a teenager, he was arrested officially for the first official crime of hacking in 1985, I think he said, which is he has an incredible story to tell. And like I said, he's just published his book. It's on Amazon. You can go and get it, The Hacker Prince. And I'm looking forward to reading this now because it only just turned up for me yesterday. It's fresh, hot off the presses. It's just come out for the first time. I think it was published 2 days ago. So there we go. So go check that out if you haven't already. It's available to members only right now, my interview with him. And I will be uploading that to Patreon when I get a chance. But it will be available to the public within a week or so, once I've had a chance just to edit out the errors that happen during live shows. You know how it is. And maybe throw a couple of pictures in there as well and spruce it up a little bit for the channel. So that should be coming out to the public in a week or so. And sorry for the delay getting this show started. Again, kids, I've had fatherly duties, things I've had to do. I'm not sorry that I've had to do that, but you know, I'm just as a courtesy, I'm saying sorry. You know, it's one of those type of things. So I'm not really apologizing. Sorry, not sorry. You know, family comes first and so forth. But we're here now. We can do the live finally. We can have this conversation. So who have we got in the chat first? We've got Wendy in the house. Thanks for being here. Love Mike. He's great. He is. Yeah. So Wendy's our moderator extraordinaire here, and she's also a longtime friend and moderator of Mike herself. She in fact introduced me to him, I think it was, and has got us two connected, and he's been on my channel before, and I'm definitely going to invite him back on. So thanks to Wendy for making that happen. We've got Cutty in the house. We've got Zabian. We've got Linda. We've got Mrs. Plum. Some new faces. Some names I don't recognize. It's interesting. It's good to be here, guys. Thanks for joining me. We got Pearl in the house. We got Bang Chief, all is one. Salute y'all. We've got Rebecca Elise. Love your content, Paul. Thanks, Rebecca. I'm glad you enjoy it. I appreciate you being here for the live show. So this is a bit of a, for people who don't know the format of the Truther Therapy Sessions, it is a podcast. I always do it live on YouTube, and then afterwards I upload the audio and the video to wherever you get your podcast from, maybe a day after or a couple of days later. So it is available in podcast format if you do prefer listening to it in audio, but it always happens live here first on YouTube, so you can catch me, and the audio you find will be edited slightly, and the ums and the ahs and the awkward silences and the nonsense is just trimmed out for the actual podcast. But here we are, the live experience. And the way this usually works is I give a presentation for the first half of the show, air out my thoughts, just talk into the ether about things going on through my mind, and giving myself a bit of therapy, you know, because that's what it is. It's the Truther Therapy Sessions, as you can see on my shirt here, and I need therapy too, you know. It's hard enough living in this world, let alone being awake, you know. And then the second half of the show is opened up just to a conversation with you guys, answering questions, and it's your chance to get things off your chest. Now, that's one way this show works. Sometimes I have called in guests on from the subscriber base who just want to share their experiences and have have a conversation. Maybe I'll play the role of a therapist for them for maybe 20 minutes or so. But I am not a licensed therapist. I am, and anything I say or anything is not legal or therapeutic advice in any way, shape, or form. Do not take my word for it. That's all I will say. I just thought I'd preface that just in case anyone out there wants to get litigious about it. I am not a therapist. I need the therapy myself, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, how excellent. I'm catching alive, says Peace Nav. Yeah, well, thanks for being here. Like I say, if anyone does have any questions, get them in. I might see them. You might catch me at the right time. There is a 10-second delay with all these live streams, so wait 10 seconds and I might see your comment. Just bear that in mind, please. I'm not a new face, Paul. I'm here always, says Cutty. Oh, you? Oh, fair enough. It's the first time I've seen your name chatting in the chat, though. But thanks for always being here. Either way, we got Micah Day here. The Hacker Prince is free if you have Kindle Unlimited. That's true, yeah. So he's released it to Kindle as well, and you can get it free through Kindle Unlimited. There's different contracts you can sign up for with Amazon, and he's clearly done that one. So if you do have Amazon Unlimited, go and get yourself, or Kindle Unlimited, go and get yourself a copy of The Hacker Prince. But honestly, when you listen to our interview, you'll want to read the book. Like I can't wait to actually read this now after talking with him about it. He's given loads of little tidbits of what's in the book, and I'm like, that sounds really intense and like interesting, and I want to find out more. So he did a good interview. He did a good one. So there we go. Yeah, go check out The Hacker Prince on Amazon. It's just been published, guys. And yeah, hit that like button as well while you're at it. Hype this video while you're at it too, if you can. That's a thing now. I tested it the other day. One of my videos, The Devil's Playground. I asked people to hype it to see how it goes. And I don't think I smashed into any particular charts. But I do believe because I'm a bigger channel, I don't get that opportunity as much as it's mainly for smaller channels. But apparently hyping the video puts it in front of people. That's what it's for, apparently. It gets me on a leaderboard somewhere and people can get shown the leaderboards and recommended my work or something like that. So that's the new thing they're doing now. I don't know if it's worth anything or not. I just do what I do and people listen and you know, for whatever reason they want to do that. More power to them, but I don't think the hype function has much use for me personally. But that is a thing apparently. So if you can hype the video, guys, and hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you never miss a video. The usual YouTube diatribe that you hear from every other channel out there. I very rarely self-promote myself or encourage people to do anything like that. So I felt very weird to say, I'm not going to lie. Reshared that video on Instagram for you, says Koya. Thank you. I always watch and I don't comment, but I always like and listen. Obviously subscribe, says Joanne. Well, Joanne, thanks for speaking up and telling me that. It's this silent majority, you know, that really need to let the voices be heard, because all I get are the loud, crazy minority speaking to me who want to tell me crazy things and shout at me or you know, tell me why I'm an evil person. So the silent majority who like me tell me that every now and then, and maybe I'll feel a bit more confident and better about myself for doing this, and this is the life I chose, you know. No, I kid. I would do this either way. Don't worry about it. What else have we got here? Oh, Wendy's just gifted some memberships so people can go and check out. So those lucky people who just got gifted that membership, you now have access to the members only video that was just recorded live a couple of hours ago. So there we go, guys. Quick access for you. But if you're a Patreon member, it will be uploaded there as well tomorrow or tonight or whenever I get a chance, maybe after I've slept and had a family day, you know. Nice to see your progress over the years, says Zabine. Oh, thank you. How long have you been watching for? Zebian, let me know, because yeah, I've been here for a long time. It's taken long enough to get to 100,000, I can tell you that. Miss you, Wendy. Digital ID is a bit early from jab fatigue. Okay, Alex77, not sure what you just said. Well, I fully support you, says London Lad. Okay, well, thanks. It's good to see somebody from England, because my audience is predominantly American, I'm not going to lie. All glory to Abba, that's right, amen. Hasatan's short season is almost over. It seems, well, maybe, who knows? You know, I'm not here to set dates or tell you anything like that or make promises. That's just not what I do. And my hair is getting ridiculously long. Maybe I'll go for the middle parting today, shall we? Just for a bit of fun. There we go. This is fresh out of the shower hair. It's very thin, it's very fine, as you can see. I'm gonna go for the 90s middle parting. It seems like something I could maybe. Can I pull this off? Can I rock this? I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see how it goes for a little bit. But I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow, so that's why I've shaved in preparation. So next time you see me, I'll have really short hair, short back and sides, a little bit on top to play with, the usual. That's what's going. But right now, it's got nothing in it, so it's just flopping in front of my eyes, and it's just a mess. And that's just it. I'm a mop head. It's one of those things, and it's really, like I said, I have really fine, thin hair. I always have my entire life. This isn't like an aging thing or anything. It's just the way it falls, and it never looks good no matter what I do. But yeah, you'll see me with my 6-month haircut. That's what's coming. KRB, hi fam, love you all. Just stopping in. Great hair, Paul. He's always laughing at me already. I know, that's why I like you. Fair enough, thank you. From Boston. No parts. Okay, no middle parting. It's better without the middle parting. Do you have an aversion to middle partings, Wendy, as much as Crocs? Is it one of those situations? Is the middle parting the Croc of the hairstyles? It is, isn't it? The push from COVID shots was exhausting. Not sure. Did. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you got enough fatigue from that. You can't bother dealing with the digital ID thing again now. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, we'll get into it a little bit. Today. I do have some things to say about it and some things to share, and I do have a bit of a diatribe to go on, as I usually do. I love that word, diatribe. I can thank Connor from the Cult of Con for reminding me of that word. He uses it all the time, and I've stolen it from him, so it's mine now. But yeah, I do have a speech to give, a monologue, shall we say. And I kind of roughly gave a little one yesterday, talking about the three world wars, and I think there's some more to be said about that as well. Some things I didn't mention in that video, which people reminded me of after in the comments. And that video was actually done really well. I think it's got something like 10,000 views already in a day. It really touched on a nerve for a lot of people, and for good reason. And we'll get into it. So let's just finish up here in the chat first, and then we'll carry on. I think I've been here for 3 years, not long enough. Okay. So you're quite new to this then, because the 3 years is you were around early enough to see the my little season era of YouTube, and perhaps catching the back end of my Nephilim Look Like Clowns research when the book was published as well. So from the sounds of it, what's that? Scouser here, Paul, but live in West Lancashire these days. Well, Joanne, we're in a similar neck of the woods then, from the sounds of it. I'm not a Scouser myself, but I definitely have a Lancashire. I'm a Lancashire guy. I lived in Lincolnshire for a short while, though. I'll say that much. Crocs are back in now, Paul, according to my daughters, says Joanne. Well, Joanne, I mean, Wendy would have a few things to say about that. That's for sure. No shots for me, says Sabine. Well, good for you. Me either. I didn't get any either. When you don't have a beard, I call you evil Paul. I know. My wife, when I came downstairs, she's like, "What have you done? Why?" And then I think she's a bit jealous, because she's like, "At least when you shave, it makes you look 15." Like, it's like a cheat for men. If men want to look younger, we can take years off our looks just by simply shaving. And I think some women might be jealous of that. Like, we can easily make ourselves look a lot younger very quickly. But yeah, I know I look 12. I know. And no one's going to take me seriously anymore. I might as well make this speech, and everyone's like, who the hell is this child telling me what to think and feel about the world events? Like, I've been doing this for 50 years. Like, I don't need children telling me how to think. And it's like, I'm 33, man. I've got 2 kids, and I've got bills to pay. You know what I mean? And the taxes and the rest of it, just like the rest of you, you know. But I know I look 15. I know. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Yes, that's about when I entered all of it. Amazing work, brother, says Cutty. So Cutty, I'm glad I could express where I was at the time when you came in. It's been a bit of a blur for me. I'm not going to lie. I barely remember any of it now. I don't even remember what I did last week half the time. I have a terrible memory. Nothing but love for all your hard work from Fremont, Nebraska, Paul. You're my boy. Thanks, Shauna. I appreciate the support. You've been around for a while too, Shauna, haven't you? Yeah, it's good to see you here. So Dan, yeah, you've got evil Paul today, I'm afraid. Anyway, let's just get on with the show. Let's talk. And actually, one more quick thing. A delivery rocked up. a delivery has rocked up, and I have a fresh batch here of hardcovers. I ordered nothing but hardcovers this time because that seems to be what people want the most. Of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. If you want a signed copy from me, email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com, and I can sign this, package it, send it straight from my house here, straight to your doorstep with a signature for you. Just email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com, and we can get that arranged. Price will vary a little bit depending on where I'm sending it to, but it's roughly around £50 to £60, give or take, depending on where you're located, how much postage is going to be, and the tax from America as well, which has been added on top. So it's one of those, guys. But if you all want a signed copy, let me know. And for those who have already pre-ordered the 5 of this 10 batch, so I have 5 available, but the 5 that have already been bought, they're here now, and I'm going to send them out as soon as I can, when I get a minute or two in the next couple of days. So if you did pre-order yours earlier in the month, it's coming within the next couple of weeks. So there you go, a bit of an update for the people out there. But yes, I do have a box right next to me down here on the floor full of them. So if you want a copy, send me an email. That being said, we can leave Shilltown now, and we can go on to what I had to say. So I don't have a script, guys. I don't script these shows. I just have a rough idea of what I want to say, and I let it flow. I find that's the best way for me to hear what I actually believe and think, rather than reading a script. I just let it flow, and sometimes I hear myself saying things, and I'm like, is that what I really believe? So this is why I do this. This is a therapy session after all. But yeah, we need to talk about the digital ID situation, don't we? I think that's on everyone's mind, especially if you're from the UK. This is the thing which it's causing big waves in many ways, and I have a few thoughts about it. I've been observing, keeping quiet. I didn't make an initial announcement when it first happened, or make a statement about it, because I just needed to see how this was panning out first, and what the public opinion generally seemed to be on the matter, and I had to kind of think about what would the future plans be here exactly for this. Why roll this out now of all times? What's going on around this exactly? What are we missing? And I think that's the question we should always be asking ourselves whenever big moves get played on the board. And this comes after a turning point moment, doesn't it? After the death of Charlie Kirk, and I feel like maybe a signal was sent when that happened, which has made our government, at least in the UK, make a move. Because I do think a lot of these, whenever something happens on the world stage, I feel like messages and esoteric signals are being sent to the secret societies to indicate when it's time to do the next thing in the agenda and in the plan. And it seems like the digital ID is a next step. And I don't know yet. I only heard about this about an hour ago. Someone in the comment section said that Trump is about to roll out the exact same thing in America. I don't know anything about that. I've not looked at all into that. Don't quote me. I could be wrong. But let me know in the chat now if that's the case, if something similar is literally in the pipeline for you in America. But perhaps most of the Western world is going to start rolling these out very quickly now. I heard that the Canadian Prime Minister said something really silly. Like, I think someone asked him in a press conference, like, is this happening in Canada soon? Is this going to be for us? And I think the response was, well, in England, they don't really have any form of identification, so it just makes sense to do it there, It's different here. And I think Keely told me about this, and my wife, and I was like, what? We have like 50 forms of identification already. What is he talking about? Why would he lie to his people like that? Like, England has more than enough forms of identification. We have now, your driver's license, your birth certificate, your provisional license. You can get your national insurance number, your NHS number. You get your gateway tax login number as well. We are numbered up the wazoo. That's a phrase I've not said in a while. Like, we are tagged and bagged and labeled and set. We are a number in a machine. Absolutely. Like, we have ample forms of ID already given to us that are necessary for us to live in this country and to do the most basic things. We do not need a digital ID. It will not change a single thing. And your national insurance number is a necessity if you want to work in this country, and the digital ID is no differently. Like, why do we? It's completely unnecessary. And people are going to work illegally in this country already, even though they need a national insurance number. They're already working here illegally. What's one other thing they're going to just deny? like employers are already letting them work illegally after not presenting the national, the national insurance number. So why are they going to bother about the ID? It changes nothing, and we know this. The public know this immediately. And I was surprised by the public backlash towards this. I was pleasantly surprised in a way. I expected this just to roll through with little pushback, and for people just to go, yeah, well, what are we going to do? It is what it is, and just accept it and move on. But it didn't seem to be public sentiment at all. It was the complete opposite. I think that most of the public has stood up and gone, what the hell is this? And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to know this is bad. This is bad. This has nothing good at the end of this pipeline. And people felt it immediately, and I feel like people stood up very quickly and have voiced their opinions very quickly. Like, no, I will not take this. Absolutely not. This is ridiculous. This is clearly a means to a very, very, very dark end. And Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, who has pushed this through, on behalf of the Labour government, has been torn apart over this massively. He has lost all popularity, even within his own party. Like, his approval rates are gone. No one wants him there. No one wants him in power. Even his own party hate him for this choice. And it's kind of, no one's having it. Like, he has collapsed, publicly speaking. And at the same time, we have Nigel Farage leading up the Reform Party, which has gained a lot of traction over the past few years, and there's an election coming in May, not that long from now. And if you don't know how British politics works, you vote in representatives for your constituencies. And we have a main election where the Prime Minister is chosen, where, from what party, from the parties that are there, and there's a big mix-up of seats then as well, in a way, but right now that could change even in this May election, and all those seats could suddenly get lost. It's a really complicated, weird system, but new leadership and new seats can be taken over, basically, and influence within the House of Parliament from constituencies can be added into that discussion thanks to this election that's coming up. And our system's so convoluted and ridiculous. It really is. But what I'm saying is, in May, it seems like Nigel Farage and the Reform Party has set themselves up to win in May a big portion of seats in Parliament, and take over many constituencies very quickly. It seems like he's poised to do that, and it feels like what Keir Starmer has done has only helped him massively gain that foothold in the next election when this happens. I can see it. That's what's going to happen. But Keir Starmer himself is in power until 2029. So there's going to be some kind of extremely odd power play going on in the next 4 years in this country. It's going to be so strange. And I can't predict how this is going to pan out at all. But we basically have a dictator who's following Blairite socialism and imposing it on the masses that do not want it and have voiced openly, we do not want this. No one wants this at all. Your own party even disagrees with you, but he's pushing it forward anyway, at the cost of completely obliterating his own party in any future election. He doesn't seem to care about that. Labour will be dead after this. They will not exist after this. People are not taking it. So in a way, although it seems like, status quo, this is obviously just going to go through, everyone's going to... I don't think so. Something weird's happening here. And even I've never seen in British politics before. Normal people are going, no. And maybe COVID had a lot to do with this. I think maybe a lot of normal people saw the absolute chaos that the government imposed on us during that time, and the terrible decisions that were made and implemented upon the masses, and the consequences of those. I think a lot of people woke up in that time, and now this seems like another version of that in a sense, and nobody trusts the government at all. Nobody in this country trusts the government. We know they're not for us. We know they're against us in many ways as well. And the excuse they're using right now is this is to stop immigration, and they're trying to push themselves on like a hot button topic that really affects the working class and the majority of British people identity. And that's what the British people have an issue with right now. Who are we? And who are the British people, and can we have an identity, a national identity, or are we nothing but Nazis if we even consider such a thing because we're white? And I think a lot of that is bubbling up to the surface now after like decades of being stepped on and ridiculed and spat on by the social Marxist left. And I think the pendulum's swinging the other way now, and this is why Nigel Farage's Reform Party is gathering momentum, and I think there is going to be a swing. I think there's going to be a big mix-up and change coming, and I think this digital ID is like a way to make that swing happen in some way. It just seems so odd because it's kind of it's a huge mistake on Labour's side to do this now. They must have seen, right? Surely they must have seen that the reaction to this would be completely against them. I listen to a lot of political commentators who are not in the conspiracy game, and they seem to think it's all just completely organic because he's just a completely unaware, inept buffoon, and he just doesn't realize the optics of anything he does, and he genuinely believes in the things he says, and he's just blind in his bubble to the outside world. He's not boots on the ground. He's out of touch, and they say all these things, but it's kind of like, I don't know, man, if any of that's true. I think this guy's just following a long agenda that's been at play for an extremely long time. Because when you actually look into digital IDs, that's just the start. That's the means to the next step. That's phase one. What they eventually want to implement is that everything's on that ID, including your money, which they'll be able to switch off at will. And I think the end goal for a long time has been cashless society. They want a cashless society. Okay, that's always been the goal for a very long time, because if there's no cash and all the money is digital and controlled, then they can switch people off, and they have no means to procure goods anymore, because there's no such thing as cash. They have no means to barter or to trade or sell anymore outside of the system, the digital system, the cashless society, the cashless system. And we saw the popularization of like wearables. People have rings and watches where they can scan their watch to pay, and then we had contactless payment coming in with the cards, which was been here in the UK for a long time. I think it came to America a lot later. And these are stepping stones to get you used to just contactless paying, paying without having to put your PIN in anymore, or swiping anything or signing anything, the convenience, of why you have cash is convenient, right? Just quick boop, you're all done. Like, move on. Let's keep going, And that's already well ingrained into us, and cash is disappearing. And with COVID, a lot of companies decided to go cashless then, in a big way, to protect the people, to stop germs from spreading. And they never went back after COVID. They never returned to cash. It remained a cashless store, and we don't accept cash anymore, which has to be illegal in many ways, when you really think about it. But it's just a done thing, right? Everyone goes along with it. No one questions it or thinks about it because it seems so convenient. Or why would you want to use cash? It's disgusting anyway, Ooh, why bother with that? Why would you just tap your card? Why use cash? And they don't. Most people don't consider the implications of it not being available, because a lot of people have implicitly trusted their governments and the banking systems and the corporations for some reason. So they've had no reason to question why use cash? Why bother? It seems so perfect to go cashless. And it's been sold to us for a long time. It's a slow drip feed, frog in the boiling pan, slowly turning the heat up so he doesn't notice he's being cooked alive situation. And this digital ID we've seen coming for a long time. I'm talking like well over a decade, if not longer. Like a long time. We've known this is the end goal. Ideally, what they want is a little chip in your hand. They want to chip everybody like you would a dog or a pet or cattle. And everything will be on the chip. So you won't even need to carry around that pesky phone anymore, with all your ID on it. It's like, oh no, it's just scan your chip. Boop. There's everything we know about you. There's all your entire medical records on that chip. You got your address, your phone number, your where you work, your social credit score while we're at it, and where you stand in society, and your opinions and where you stand politically will be on there. Your blood type will be on there. Everything will be on there, including your money. Everything. And you step out of line. You have the wrong opinion at the wrong time, we'll just turn your chip off. What are you going to do then? And that's control. That's the ultimate control, isn't it, of the slave class? And that's worst end goal scenario for us. That's if we let them get there, then yeah, we are in trouble by that point. And there'll be rewards for going along with the system, There'll be rewards, and many people who will go along with it because they want to gain the system and gain the rewards. The first 10,000 people to get the chip get a £10,000 reward or something like this. I don't know. There'll be benefits to playing the game and to being a part of the system, and that's perfect and works great for people who have never once considered that they may be being used by nefarious people for nefarious purposes and are actually a part of agendas being played way outside of the realms of understanding, because they never considered to understand for any second that there could be people who don't have their best interest at heart using them like a battery, like for energy, and I think things have changed. And I don't think this is going through as smoothly, perhaps, as they were anticipating. But I speculated, well, if it doesn't get through this time with Starmer, and it seems like it's not going to, I think it's going to get dead in the water before it really kicks off. I think it's going to be revolution. I think people are going to fight back against it and say no. I think not this time. Maybe they'll push it back a generation and try again in the future when some new catastrophe comes along that requires it and everyone accepts it as the best thing for us. I don't know. Who knows? But I feel like they've definitely overplayed their hand. And it's made more people go, what the hell? What is this, 1984? I think a lot of people have seen immediately, this is bad. And any argument he comes up with of why it's good, everyone's like, no, still sounds evil. Like, no, we're not doing that. No, that seems to be the general reaction. And I'm shocked that that's the general reaction. But then if I can get really cynical and conspiratory, it's like, well, is that the plan all along? Did they know people would react like this? And maybe this is to get the more right-wing politics in leadership now. Maybe they're trying to kill the useful idiots, which was the liberal social Marxist left, which has had control for a long time. But maybe they were always supposed to lose that control. Maybe that's a part of the script. Like, they were never supposed to be in power for long. They were supposed to be in power long enough to galvanize the Christian right types, the nationalist types, so we can get them in control as the pendulum swings the other way. And now it's time for the left to eat themselves alive and die, so this new thing can come in, which might actually be better at controlling the masses from now on if that type of party and mindset was in control. And I feel like more of a war mindset needs to be in power now, a fighting mindset. And if we can make the people think that they've won and taken back control, then they'll never question the narrative as it goes forward when wars begin and they need to start conscripting people for the next big fight. Maybe something like that's on the go. And this brings me back to the Third World War situation that we're talking about, Albert Pike's heavily contested letter. But the idea that Israel and the nations of Islam are going to mutually destroy each other in some Third World War scenario, and the Christians are going to be restrained by the communist liberal types until they need them for the final cataclysm. And it seems like Christianity right now is being unrestrained. But it's not Christianity, it's churchianity. And there's a big difference, huge difference. And I kind of touched on that in that video. But what's being taught in churches today, and this isn't to disparage people who go to church. I understand that, fellowship is a good thing for Christians, but there's a lot of corruption in the churches we have today. And the leadership of these institutions, these 501c3 tax-exempt charity organizations, they have to toe the government line and policy in order to maintain that status. So they often omit things by simply just not discussing them, or they openly promote government-backed agendas and ideologies, such as the support of Israel and basic, what we consider basic Christianity today, which is dispensationalist theology and futurism. And all of that seems perfectly normal on the surface because that's just Christianity. And why wouldn't we support Israel? That's where the Jewish people are, and those are God's chosen people. We must support them. But when you actually look into all of that, you realize that's actually a complete fabrication. The whole thing was orchestrated not that long ago. That is not what Christ was all about. And you don't need the institution of the church to have fellowship. Okay, but the churches are now filling up, are they not? Especially after the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And people are kind of galvanizing behind the idea of national identity, strong Christian moral values, getting to church, traditional family values, and which again is a lot of good things with that little bit of poison mixed in there. Because the idea is that we're going to defend our nation against the enemies of God. So the murderous side of Christianity is being kind of prodded and woken up, and I feel like the actions of the left right now are only making that right Christian patriots attitude get stronger. And it's their turn to take over. Absolutely. And I've speculated that the agentur of the Illuminati, as described in that letter, are basically trying to rile up the Christians enough that they would start to attack and fight back in a very bloody, physical, violent way. And it's hard to make Christians do that. Real Christians, real ones who understand the idea that you should love your neighbor, love your enemies, and you try and live peaceably with one another, and obviously convert them, not kill them, make disciples of men, not murder them because they disagree with you. It's hard to get those basic fundamental Christian values to kill, but it can be done. You can make Christians violent, and there's plenty of evidence, the Spanish Inquisition, and there's plenty of things throughout history where so-called Christians have got violent, but then at the same time, I would say, well, were they really Christians, or were the institutions that galvanized these people to behave this way really Christian? Or the correct ministers who actually were for God in some way, or were they perhaps agents of the Illuminati or of the synagogue of Satan or whoever who infiltrated these positions through the secret societies to get the people to think and behave this way? Divide and conquer is always the way. But if you actually read the word and not listen to what some guy at a pulpit has told you is what's in the word, you'll realize it's very antithetical to what Christ actually taught. But a lot of churches have become political places. And everything that's happening in the world, thanks to futurist dispensationalist theology, relates to the church. So every political event is now a church event. It's now it's prophecy. It's revelation, is it not? It's the mark of the beast. It's the end times. That's the Antichrist over there. Every president has been the Antichrist since presidents have existed, have they not? Thanks to dispensationalist theology. Every new development in technology that comes along that puts control onto us is the mark of the beast because of where we are on the timeline, thanks to futurist dispensationalist theology, which is the mainline church. So every issue of society is now a church issue, is now a revelation issue, is now something that Christians must stand up against and fight back against the agents of Satan, and all of it is convoluted. All of it is fabricated, as far as I'm concerned. All of it is done to control us, which is why when I see, a new revival, everyone's going to church all of a sudden because Charlie Kirk died, it's kind of like, well, is the church the best place for them to be going if they really want to find Christ? Or are they going to fall into something else? And I said, well, the letter says the Christians are going to be used as like a foot soldiers to fight in that war between Israel and Islam. And people said to me, there's no way these new people joining the churches now would fight for Israel. They're actually very anti-Israel right now. In fact, many of them think Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he was noticing too much. So there's no way that they're going to get people to fight on behalf of Israel. even though in the past that's what these churches were doing. And I said, well, actually, I don't think it's going to be sold to them as though they're fighting for Israel. It's going to be sold to them that they're fighting against Islam. That's different. Okay, it'll never be framed as though they're defending Israel. It'll be framed as though they are fighting Islam, which is going to be the scapegoat for everything. And again, probably an enemy that was built to fall as well in many ways. And I think even Israel is an enemy that was built to fall in many ways. And I may use the chess analogy that Israel is like the queen. And the queen's a very powerful piece on the board. It can move any direction, and it's very powerful. Okay, any distance, any direction. But even the queen falls to defend the king. And the king behind all of this is Satan and his army and his secret society. We call them the Khazarians, maybe. I don't know. There's many names you can give to this group, who are headed up by spiritual wickedness in high places. But as long as they've got us fighting and pointing the fingers at these patsies, these enemies built to fall, then they've got us where they want us. So I feel like many of these current events, these things that are happening, including the digital ID, are just means to rally the nationalist, patriot, Christian, this is a Christian country idealists out there who are coming to Christianity with a fighting mentality rather than I'm a worthless sinner who needs saving mentality, which is that's basically Christianity's whole thing. I get the desire to want to defend your nation or to want to defend your family, and this is another argument that was levied against me. It's kind of like, it says thou shalt not murder, not thou shalt not kill, and which is nitpicking when you really think about it. But I get what they're saying, trying to make that distinction that, well, self-defense is okay. And you know what? Yes, if there's a wild, crazy-eyed person, be it a leftist or a Muslim or whatever you want to say, coming at you and your family with an AR-15 or a machete, and you're pretty certain, yep, this guy's about to kill me, defend yourself. Sure. I don't think God will have any quibbles with you defending yourself in that situation, your family, immediately. But if people leaving these comments, that's not what's happening to them in the current moment. Now, if you suddenly feel the urge, well, I'm surrounded by enemies on all front. These leftists want to kill us. I better... What if you get the idea, well, maybe I should take them out before they get the chance to take me out? I feel like that's the kind of energy that's being fostered here. So I think a lot of people are going to feel justified in murdering a lot of people. Righteously so, because these people are evil and they want me dead. But technically, that's murder. Because they weren't killing you. And they weren't coming at you individually in that moment trying to kill you. And you were not in a position where it was self-defense. You preemptively went out and murdered them on the assumption that they were going to murder you maybe at some point in the future. So that's called murder. You murdered them. So thou shalt not murder, or thou shalt not kill. You can nitpick all you want. That mentality is murder. And I feel that's where they want to get us. They want to get the Christians in a position where they feel necessary to defend themselves against the revolutionaries in the midst of civilizations, Western civilizations right now, by making the first strike. Okay? And if we can get Christians to do that, you can then guilt them and shame them after the fact and make them disillusioned with the faith. And that's what it mentions in the letter. Disillusioned with Christianity and with nowhere to send their deistic spirits anymore, no more adulation, not knowing where to place their worship in a higher power because of what just happened and what they just did. That's when they'll be offered the doctrine of Lucifer instead, the guiding light of Lucifer, the Luciferian doctrine. And again, a lot of this is just because Albert Pike wrote a letter doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. Men make plans, God laughs. Who knows how it's actually really going to play out? I have faith that we have a good God who would actually, fight for us and defend us and actually make this work in ways that actually benefits us more so, and the enemy's plans will just crumble and fall no matter how much they plan ahead and try and make this happen how they want it to happen, So I am an optimist, but what I'm saying is men have plans. What are their plans? What are they trying to do here exactly? And we have this letter, and it seems to have played out exactly to a T so far. And this Third World War seems like it's on the cusp of happening, does it not? And it seems like every nation's about to get dragged into the middle. And I feel like digital ID is being poised as like this last ditch effort from the left to control the masses, you know. And valiantly, the patriots and the revival of Christianity is going to seize back control from the sinful, evil people who have had the grips and the reins of society for so long. And that's a nice story, isn't it? That's a really nice story. Yeah, that would be wonderful if that's what was going down and happening. But it just seems so scripted to me and contrived. All of it. I have some trust issues. What can I say? This is understanding conspiracy, you know. I'm not so sure that that's actually what's in our best interest. I think a relationship with the Father and through Jesus Christ is not necessarily what we're seeing unfold here and what's going to come next. I don't think so. Because, I mean, I know they have long-form agendas and plans. Okay? And I know eventually they do want everybody chipped. But they're going to do it in a way where everybody thinks it's a good thing. Nobody's going to fight back against the RFID chip or this mark of the beast analog, shall we say. I'm not saying it is the mark of the beast, and we'll get there in a minute, but it certainly has all it ticks a lot of boxes. Not all of them, actually, but it does tick a few of the boxes that indicates it's a good contender for something like a mark of the beast situation, you know, in the right hand or the forehead. So you got Neuralink in the works, which involves brain implantations, and you've also got chips that people can literally put in their hand right here, you know, and they can scan. So there's kind of already like ID. And again, I would say it's all a script. I think they're purposely making a mark of the beast so people think that they're in that time in Revelation. I do think that's what's happening. But I feel like something completely out of left field will wipe all of this out very quickly in the near future. And this is where the alien card probably gets played, to be honest, which is just totally out of left field. No one's going to see it. It's going to make all of our petty squabbles and fears and worries pale insignificance compared to what just comes upon us. I feel like that's the final card, you know, while we're all fighting over digital IDs in the Middle East and which religions right over who and so forth. That's when, boom, the ship appears. Everyone looks up and goes, what is going on? And everything changes. I imagine that's going to happen too. Like something, they'll be teaching the guiding light of Lucifer, no doubt, and that Luciferian doctrine. It'll be kind of like Albert Pike's letter, but with the new Hollywood twist. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. This digital ID thing, I think while everyone's panicking and worrying and hyping and fighting back, rightfully so, because it's a terrifying concept and we certainly don't want to be under the control of a digital ID. Yeah, it's a long con. It's a show. It's a play that we're all playing a part in, and we don't realize it. We haven't been told that's what we're doing. And the script was given to us a long time ago. And most of the media we consume is programming for the script. So when the things happen, we're already sufficiently pre-programmed to behave and act the way we saw on the TV to the scenario that's going down in real life. So I feel like the majority of people are playing the script. They're on the track and they don't even know it. And they're going in a direction that's already laid out for them completely. I feel like a lot of that's happening here. And I think the natural backlash we're seeing to the digital ID is completely expected. I think they expected this to happen as well. I don't think they're losing control or something like that, you know, and they're clutching at straws now because they're scared. These guys have been doing this for a long time, a very long time. I think they know what they're doing, and I think they want the Christian right, patriot, nationalist types to be in control now. I think they want the pendulum to swing because that then helps them, sets them up nicely for the next thing coming down the pipeline, which is war. I think it's that simple. And we're going to see a great, spectacular downfall of the left. They're going to give us a good show, and we're going to feel collectively we finally won. We won. We won something. We've gained back control of our countries finally. We've squashed these terrible ideologies which were killing us from the inside. Values are finally back. Morality's back. Everything's wonderful. The Christians are going to think God's helped them in some way. You know what I mean? And the people of these nations in the West are going to feel like they've finally won something and they've pushed back evil, and they're going to feel elated and happy and finally some peace, and things are going to get better in some small way. I know when they say peace and security, that's when sudden destruction, right? You know, I feel like people like finally the taxes are being eased up on us, and wages are finally going up to a decent matching inflation, and everything's finally going perfect. Young people can buy houses again, and we're going to be given plenty of things, and we're going to be given something worth fighting for, something we're not willing to lose. Okay, so the small win is likely to placate us and keep us trapped and happy for a bit longer, long enough for them to continue the next agenda. And also the whole golden age that's around the corner of wonderful patriotism, Christian, which again, I would love, and I'm certainly going to reap the benefits while it's happening, as much as I can, absolutely, and so should you. But in the long game, that's the point. They're going to give us something worth fighting for, something that we don't want to lose. So maybe we would be galvanized enough to go and join that next war where it seems completely necessary, because we need to defend what we have. And people rarely defend countries that they don't care about, or when they've got no stake in the game, no family or no property or nothing of value, no material wealth or something. People fight to defend the stuff. That tends to be why wars happen, And right now, everyone's got nothing, and they're supposed to be happy about it, right? The famous, is it Klaus Schwab who said that? Was that his name? And it's kind of, you will own nothing and be happy. Everyone, again, those type of ideologies, those taglines are purposefully incendiary, and we're never going to come to fruition. We just have to believe we stopped that from happening. We won. I think that's what's being played out here. It's like a false win. Like it placates us. It keeps us happy for a little while. I think we just have to be careful. Like we have to be. We're being played. It's a game to these people, and we're their toys. Like we've got to be so careful. Like, and let's not fall for it. We're called to be better than that. And yeah, I mean I suppose that's all I can really say without repeating myself on the situation. Just watch and maintain your faith in Christ through all this. Just keep your eyes on him and the hopes that all this is already done. This is a defeated enemy. It is finished. And look, everyone's looking out for Christian persecution right now. And there are Christians being persecuted all over the earth and killed. Do not get me wrong. I know that. I'm not ignorant of that whatsoever. But I feel like in the West right now, a horrible, weird mental mind game is being played psychologically on the Christian people. And just the nation, the people of nations built on Christian values to begin with, we're under psychological warfare, or we're being used as a weapon, or at least trying to be turned into some kind of weapon, while all of the Christians on other continents are just being murdered and genocided. It's a different situation. And that isn't to say God can't cause revivals and throw sticks in the work here. And I don't know. There's things higher than me I do not understand in God's plan here at all, but something's going on with the Christian West, and this comes down to a long-term theory, which again I discussed a lot on this channel, that we are not in the Revelation timeline where it's pre-tribulation. I think that's the lie that's keeping us trapped in, is what's going to be used to make us fight in some way, or it's what's being used to certainly put the fear into the Christians, like, the mark of the beast. You don't want to take the mark, do you? You gotta resist. You gotta fight. That type of stuff. And then a lot of the nonsense about the third temple, which has nothing to do with the Bible whatsoever, and is a Talmudic Jewish nonsense. And the whole red heifers and come on, it has nothing to do with the Bible. It's not even in the Bible. There's no third temple in the Bible, in Revelation, that has to exist. It's an assumption based on the idea that, well, if we're still 2,000 years later and Christ hasn't returned, then we must build this temple, because there should be a temple at the time that the Antichrist goes in. But no, that temple was destroyed in 70 AD. It's done. And most revelation was fulfilled during that time period. And I do believe, in a very real physical sense, Christ reigned and ruled on earth for 1,000 years with his resurrected saints. And we're after that time, where Satan was let loose for a short season to deceive all the nations and gather an army to go and make war with the camp of saints. Now, how that's going to pan out and what that means, well, we speculated ad nauseum. I've got hours of content trying to figure out what the hell that means, but the only thing coming in this time is war. No mark of the beast, none of that stuff. That was likely the libellus of Rome, which required Christians at the time of Nero to basically sacrifice in the temple to Jupiter, and then gain from an official witness from Rome a little piece of paper which gave them permission to buy and sell within Rome. But to do that, they had to make sacrifice to another god, Jupiter, in the temple, witnessed by a Roman legionnaire, who was an official, signed the document and stamp it and give it to the populace. And then that came with ash on the forehead as well, and on the hands. So that sounds like the mark of the beast to me. It's like there's many contenders, but it already happened. Okay. Now, it isn't to say take something akin to the mark of the beast now, but I think those symbolic references are being used against us today to put fear into the hearts of Christians and to make them jump at every shadow around them of the Antichrist is here or the mark of the beast is there, and make foolish prophecies that, well, rapture's on the 23rd, guys, I'm out of here, I'm selling all my stuff, because they don't understand it all already happened. And we've been lied to that it's been 2,000 years since Christ ascended into heaven and promised to be back soon. Like a deadbeat father leaving for a pack of cigarettes and never coming back or something. You know, I believe he kept his word and he came back in the lifetime of the people he said he would come back to. And history's been covered up, lies have been made, and in this little season, secret societies rule, have rewritten history, and Satan's doing his number on us. And that means to say Satan has his claws in all of these churches in this time too. So when I see all of this script play out in front of us, I can't help but think of all of this and think, wow, we are seriously being played. When the devil was let loose to deceive the nations, he did his job. That much is clear. So I'm not willing to just go along with the Christian narrative on this, and I call myself a Christian. I'm a follower of the way of Jesus Christ, and I profess with my mouth that he is king, and he is risen, and he has all authority over everything. This is all his. He took the keys. He conquered death. And thanks to him, I have a way to the Father. Not through any works I have done. I cannot work my way to the Father. I can't. Simply trying to not sin is not going to get me there. I'm only going there because he came and he died on that cross and resurrected and took back the keys of death and gave all authority to us and also gave us that way to the Father. I'm not working my way there. No one's working their way there. But I get a lot of comments from people telling me, like, oh, you Christians think you're so great. You think you're just really, really good. And then you get to go to heaven. It's kind of like, no one believes that who's a real Christian. I'm not good. I'm terrible. I'm a wretched sinner who deserves to go to hell. It's only thanks to Jesus' sacrifice am I saved and not going there. Nothing to do with my works. Nothing I can do can save me. I have failed the law at every step and always will. And I can't help it. It's hard. It's impossible. I can try my best, and it's good to try to follow the law, but that is not going to save you. It does not get you there. It won't change a damn thing. We're only saved because of Christ's death and resurrection. I profess that. I believe that. I'm out there, but I don't think these churches can be trusted. Not at all. And they might all sound like they're saying the right things, but a bit of leaven is all it takes, isn't it? Just a little bit. Ruins the whole thing. And I think in this little season, that's likely what these churches are full of. And I think a good phraseology, which, when I left the little season game kind of came into play, is this is Satan's last season. We're living through his last final attempt at doing what he does best. Steal, kill, destroy, and lie. And he has his foot soldiers here doing his grunt work. And those are the secret societies, the agenter of the Illuminati, making the agenda go forward in a physical sense, and doing his bidding, basically. And most people have been just surface level for so long and believing the narratives and the wars in front of them, fighting in wars that have nothing to do with the freedom that was so-called proclaimed when they signed up and believed they were going to go fight for those things. And I made a phrase in the last show, Babylon fights Babylon. We're called to come out of her. Let Babylon fight Babylon. There's no good or bad side in these wars on the earth today. It's all Babylon, all of it. Especially if we're in the little season, especially during that time. So that's I guess that's it. That's all I can say. Let's take a break.
Shout 40 lashes -1. Now my suffering as with the sun, so drips on out my blood. 40 swore to an oath, until his death come by the hands of men, we shall stop. The Lord of Heaven's army shall protect me. God, my scars are ready to bear. Privileged to trust you, I'll worship instead. Though in anguish my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to pray. Thank you, Lord. To tread the broad path the flesh declines, guided by the renewal of mind. Something's brewing in the unseen sky. Rulers of this realm forfeit at the mention of the true Christ. Bound are my wrists behind bars to chains for you. Temptations play its hand, but I cannot renounce what's true. As the earth shifts and the cracks expand, though we were already free, better by you roll glide on to get across the sea. Set sail to the land of calamity, so be it. Count my prosperity, share with the sun. God, my scars are ready to
And we're back. Yeah, that was Endurance by Yahweh and the Vagabond. You can go check his work out on Spotify. But we're back now. We can continue. We can keep talking. I've got a bit of a thing to show you as well, a video. We get back on track, talk about the RFID chip a little bit more. It's good to see people have been in the chat. I've kind of perused back in time to see what people were saying. Thanks for all the kind words, and obviously thank you there for the $75 super chat as well, SE Web. I really appreciate that. It goes a long way for us. You have no idea. And what's this? And Hung McGee just became a member, so welcome to the memberships. Smurfs are totally real, says Pepe Sylvia. That's it. He's bringing in the hard hitting, important facts into this conversation as always. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Sonny Ferreira says, I feel empowered like never before because I see. Wonderful. Good for you. The post that said Great Britain outlawed Christianity, like you could get 2 years in jail for handing out a Bible, says Jennifer Davis. I think what you're referring to is in certain spaces, it's prohibited for you to preach or pray even. Within a certain distance from abortion clinics in the UK. You're not allowed to, and you can go to prison for that. Yeah. It's considered like harassment for those going in to get an abortion if you're out there preaching the gospel. I think that's what they're getting it under. So yeah, you can actually get in prison for doing that or handing out Bibles within a certain distance of a abortion clinic in the UK. I'm pretty sure that's true. And there's been cases where that's happened basically. And yeah, people have been arrested just for preaching the word of God within I think it's something like a 200-meter radius or something like that. So that's probably what you're referring to there, Jennifer. That's the only thing I can think of that you're referring to. But in general, no, you can preach the gospel and be a Christian and do it anywhere else. And in churches, Christianity hasn't been outlawed. It's just within that one specific context. I think that's the case in the UK. Yeah. Also, the digital ID is not mandatory to work in the UK, is it? Well, mandatory doesn't mean legal. It's not a law. But what they're saying is you will not be able to work without one, is what they're saying. So for those people who already have jobs, I assume they're going to say, well, to get paid or to pay your taxes if you're self-employed, it's going to require you to have a digital ID to get access to that. And if you don't pay your taxes, it's a criminal offense. You go to jail, so it's kind of, I feel like that's what's going on. Yeah. But we'll see how it pans out. I mean, they could install it for a little bit, but I reckon it might get repealed or revoked after the next election because people don't want it, But at the same time, let's just look at this clip first of all. So what I'm going to show you is a clip from Aaron Rousseau. And this is an old one. This is really old. If you've been in the conspiracy for a while, you've seen this video. You have seen this, okay? And he is, I think he was an investment banker himself, and I think he was very much up there in the upper echelons, a very rich man, friends with like the Rockefellers. And he talks about a conversation they had. And if I can share that with you here, bear with me. Share the screen. This is the conversation, so let's just listen to this, okay?
Banking industry, what they want to accomplish. And the goals of the banking industry, not just the Federal Reserve System, but the private banks in Germany and England, all over Italy, all over the world, they all work together. They're all central banks, and they're all part of the Communist Manifesto. Central banking is one of the major planks of the Communist Manifesto. We talk about America being a capitalistic country, but yet at the same time we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there you have two major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System, okay? So the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
Yeah, so there you go. You get the idea, and that's just one. Way he said this. He said this before in other ways.
Industry, what they want.
I can find another clip here.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one.
Yeah, so we've listened to this bit already, but he talks about a conversation he was having with them, and it's somewhere in this clip. Go and find it for yourself, guys. But he makes it clear. He makes it very clear, like, these people don't care about us. Like, the conversation he has with them, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like asking them, like, why are you doing this? Don't you have enough money? Don't you have everything? Like, why do you need to do this? And the response was, why do you care? Why do you care about these people? Just look after your wife, look after your own kids, get yourself in order. Like, don't worry about them. Why do you care about them? They're just serfs. They're just slaves. Like, who cares what happens to them? You just look after yourself, you know? That's the response. And it's like, why are you doing this? Like, what do you want? And we want everybody to get microchips so we can have full control over them, is basically what the response is. It's like, we want everyone to get chipped. And digital ID is a stepping stone to that, because at first it'll be the ID on your phone, and eventually that'll be so inconvenient in a new technological advanced world. Why not just get the chip implanted into your body instead with all your details on it, you know? Why have that pesky phone, you know? And that probably come with some kind of augmented reality contact lenses that projects the phone in front of you or something, so you can just tap the air and everything's all there integrated within the self, rather than through an external device like this, you know? That's the future. But the thing is, we are quite a way away from that yet. This rolling out of the digital ID as we see now, it's already been trialed in China with the social credit score and everything like that. They've tested it on a very obedient people to authority already, you know, and it seems to have worked, give or take, with a few revolutionaries here and there and a few genocides to silence those revolutionaries here and there, you know, the social credit systems and the rest. But I feel like to trial it in the West is a bit more difficult, because we are primarily a capitalist, Christian, traditionalist valued area, you know, and I think the communist China and the rest of it, you know, and the moral relativistic Taoist philosophies and the other Eastern philosophies that come with it kind of allowed it to be more easily integrated into those cultures. But we have like a fighting spirit here, and we don't readily accept such things. So to get us to accept it, I think they need to do a few experiments first, and maybe this is the first experiment to gauge public reaction right now. But I think they can wait. They can wait till technology sufficiently gets more advanced, and where it can seem like more of a through the back door situation, like you didn't realize you were getting digital ID until you had digital ID. You thought you was getting a cool augmented body technology upgrade or something like that, but really what you were doing was giving yourself digital ID. I feel like it's going to be, we won't even realize it. We're going to get, yeah, it's just going to come without realizing it. And obviously someone in the chat there said something I theorized loosely in the comment section of the last video, but I think, is it Ryan? Is that who's saying this? But he's basically saying it's basically a con. It's a psyop. So when the left pushes it, there's going to be public outrage, which we're seeing right now. And when a right leader pushes it, it's a brand new idea. And they're going to use Nigel Farage as the guy who'll get it through, and everyone will love it because everyone loves Nigel, you know. And that's how it's going to go, probably. So I feel like right now, this digital ID thing's about to collapse, but it's going to be presented to us again in the future as the solution to a very serious problem everyone wants solving. And it won't be the immigration thing. Or maybe Nigel Farage will do it in a way where it actually will stop immigration. That's what he's going to promise. And who knows? Again, I can't make these kind of predictions because every time I make predictions, you always end up wrong because they always do it in a way that's just completely convoluted and complicated and unnecessary. And no one can predict it like from going that way, you know. We'll see. We'll see. But if you haven't seen the Aaron Russo full talk, go listen to that. It's old, very old. Obviously, there's no Amero. There's no American dollar-euro combination. You know, it doesn't exist, as he was saying it. I think plans change, but the overarching goal doesn't. But the way they're going to get there changes all the time. And it's not going to be some clunky piece of rice grain chip in the hand anymore. The chip will probably look more like a tattoo or something now because the technology is getting better, more integrated. You know, and maybe it'll get to the point it's like, we don't even need to chip them. Like, maybe the phone will be enough. Like, yeah, they've got ways to develop and get to that point. You know, but the overarching idea is full control over the masses so they can control them in preparation for that final Gog-Magog war at the end of time. Whatever that is. I feel like that's the overarching goal. And those in power are going to have a free ride and live a fully materialistic, pleasure-filled life until that final moment comes, because they have nothing but that, because their soul like is given over to Satan in a way. That's their father, and that's their lot in life. That's their reward for obedience. They're not building up treasures in heaven. They're spending their treasures here on earth while they've got it. But at the same time, their salvation's between them and God. So who am I to say who will and won't be saved in the end? But that's kind of what we're dealing with here, realistically. And we're just blind to it because it's so horrific and horrible. Who wants to accept that that's the world we live in? No one wants that to be the case, do they? That seems to be the way it's going. Anyway, guys, I've talked for long enough. That's an hour 20 into this show. So I'm going to open the last part of the show now to you guys. Ask some questions, get them in. If anything you want to say, let me know. I've given my speech, you know, and I'm sorry it's a few days too late. But like I said, family responsibilities came first, as always. Haven't they already chipped people with the Bluetooth signal in the VX? Well, that's another thing, isn't it? I mean, that's a whole other can of worms that's coming around the corner. The consequences of that, of the mass population who took that into their systems, is right around the corner. I don't think we've even begun to scratch the surface of the consequences of what people have done to themselves. I don't want it to be true. I really don't, because I've got family, but I fear the worst is around the corner from that. Now, the craziest interpretation of what's to come is that people have been turned into mind control slaves in a very real sense. They now have the capacity to be hacked and controlled by the system, like robots, because of this thing. Who knows? Who really knows? I've heard that one recently. And I say made me laugh. It didn't make me laugh. It made me despair. But who knows what the true agenda of that really was in the long run. It tends to always be depopulation, though. They don't like that there's so many people around. It's harder to control when there's too many of them, you know. So it won't surprise me if it was just as simple as that, if it really was. But maybe there's something trippy about that we don't know yet that's around the corner. Like I said, maybe I can't say certain words in conjunction with it because you'll get banned. I've been down that road before here, and YouTube's not the place for it. Maybe we'll save that for Patreon sometime, okay? Maybe we'll save that for Patreon. How do you feel about the wide acceptance of facts that were considered conspiracies 10 to 15 years ago? I feel vindicated, and I'm very sad about it, hence the thumbnail. Sad, depressing, and unwanted vindication. That's what I feel. I don't want these things to come to fruition and pass. Like, nobody wants this. Like, this is not good. But the only benefit we have to knowing about it before it happens is that we're not as shocked as everybody else when it does. I suppose we are blessed that we don't get to be whim to our emotions in the moment when these things get thrusted upon us like digital IDs, because we've had decades to come to terms with the reality that's about to happen. We've already processed it and internalized it and accepted it in many ways and moved on mentally and grieved. We've already done our grieving and fear and crying over this situation years ago when we first woke up, and now it's actually happening. The things we researched and discovered were in the pipeline are now actually here. Yeah, it's vindication, sure, for all those that you all laughed at me, who's laughing now? But at the same time, it's like, I'm sorry it came true. I wish it didn't. Like, I really wish it didn't come true. And what is my hair doing? Honestly, I can't control this thing. Like, if it's straight out the shower, this is what I end up with. It's just a mop. I'm getting it cut tomorrow. It's getting cut. Could the chip have something to do with it? I can't, Sonny, I can't talk about that here. Like, I'm serious. Like, it's not, I can say little things now and then, but I can't theorize on that here on this platform. I've been striked before for doing it. It's a line you can't cross here. That's all I can say. I would rather have gotten a George Romero-style zombie apocalypse than whatever the hell we're in now. I know, right? Yeah, the zombies may have been easier to deal with than this. I just started seeing Sabrina says we are already hackable with our biofield. She's too much over my head, but interesting. Yeah, Sabrina Wallace, I've heard of her. Somebody I might reach out to for an interview so she can explain this to us in more detail. I've heard a lot of people say about her work that it's very complicated and detailed and difficult to understand. So what you just said there, I've heard quite a lot about her work. It seems to be the general sentiment, but I think we can get to the basics of it, the gist of it. I think the gist of it is that everybody is already hackable because we are electromagnetic beings, and they've been using frequency technology to do that to us for a long time. I think that's what the gist of her work is. But it's also, it gets complicated. It gets into the details about it and the science, I believe, and it gets really complicated. Banking scam that tracks. Thank you. Truth. That's true, Paul. Yeah. I'm sorry. I wish Sabrina is a genius. I understand it all, says Catherine. Yeah, I need to look into her work more. I think she's based on Rumble, isn't she? Or BitChute. She's not on YouTube. Found out this week that the prices of houses in gold hasn't changed since 1903. Same amount of ounces gets you the same house. Interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, well, our money isn't real, is it? Our money isn't backed by anything. And neither are we. We are now a person rather than a man or a woman. Like, we have been giving ourselves over to the paper self, and our money is an IOU and doesn't actually exist in any capacity or is backed by anything or any real wealth. It's just tokens given to us to trade cattle feed in their eyes. And yeah, there's a lot to be said about gold and money backed by the gold standard and how we need to get back to that, really. Maybe that's around the corner with this new taking down of the evil regime to believe we've taken over and won with love and peace, but we'll see. The secrecy around the technology is mental. We were taught to read through a Marxist lens in English cast politics. That's sad. I'm sorry to hear that. Zeitgeist movie covers this about the central banking scam. Yeah. Well, like I said, Aaron Russo, like he's just very matter of fact telling you, look, they want to get you chipped. They told me this. This is the plan. They want everybody chipped, tagged, tracked, and if they step out of line, we can just turn off the money, and then that's it. We've controlled everybody through fear. Now, look, that doesn't mean people can't feed other people out of the kindness of their own hearts. Oh, your chip got turned off? Just come live with me and we will sort it out. Don't worry, we'll buy stuff from my chip instead. It's about people can fight back against these systems if they go back to not using their systems to survive. By going back to a trading system rather than a barter system, rather than a monetary system. You know, there's things we can do as people to help each other when these things happen. Oh, you didn't take the digital ID. Well, let's all go back to paper books instead of digital books. Let's just not get the digital ID en masse collectively. Let's do things the old analog, old-fashioned way instead for a while until they collapse, and then we can go back to how we used to do it. You know, there's things we can do. Whether or not people will actually do them is another thing. I think a lot of hopeful activists out there think that's possible, and I don't know. I don't know if maybe I am cynical. In Canada, banks are not renewing mortgages. People are losing their homes, even if they never missed a payment. That's messed up, Sonny. That's really messed up. Yeah, it's not a good time to be on the property ladder. You're best just buying your house outright if you can. No, who can do that, you know? Yeah. We are biomech, where wireless meat suits, the brain is a receiver. That is an interesting way of describing the human body, Jeff. But yeah, in a way, that's kind of... I can see that. I can see what you're saying. Question. Since God comes in the clouds in judgment, do you think the trails in the skies might be a form of judgment? No. No, I don't. I think they are a very specific thing which has been implemented by men upon the earth for the means of controlling the weather and possibly projecting a huge LCD screen in the sky for Project Bluebeam in the Bluebeam in the future. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I've also, in a very wild, crazy speculation here, based on the little season, last season of Satan Theory, on the LCD screen front, all of those things being sprayed are actually to maintain a screen which has been there since tribulation by Satan, to hide that the sky's been torn open like a scroll already, because that's what happened in Revelation, you know. And I've also speculated the Milky Way is an example of how that's already happened, you know. But I think all the stars that fell from heaven, right now when we look up, we see stars. Now there's a question to be said, how many stars were there originally before they fell during tribulation, you know. But maybe the sky we see during the day and at night is a projection, and the spraying continues to lay the foundation necessary to maintain that projection. And that's the game. They've actually been doing this for a long time, you know, through their own means. Or maybe the projections started to fail, so they've had to start spraying in the modern era to maintain the projection and the screen that they put up there, the haze they put up there to project the fake thing onto. People see glitches all the time in the sky, and there's odd things happening there all the time with UFO phenomena, you know. So who knows? It could be a spiritual thing as well as a physical thing, men and spirits working in tandem. It's hard to say, really. Blue Bean, says Wendy. She heard. She knows. Did you know July the 4th, 2026 equals 250 years since 1766 Independence Day? I do know the 4th of July, 2026 is my 34th birthday. I do know that much. What does that mean? Does that mean anything? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But you're trying to say it's the end of the little season. 250 years is a quarter of 1,000, therefore that's the season. Maybe. I couldn't set a date. I don't know. How long's a piece of string, you know? How far away are we from Satan gathering an army and the number of the sands of the sea to go make war with the camp of saints? How long do you think he has to do that? Is a year enough? I don't think so. If the little season ends in 2026, for example, they haven't left much time to play out the scenario. Might not fit with the UN Agenda 2030. Yeah, exactly. I think to say it's 250 years is just an arbitrary number you've chosen because of the whole 1,000 years, seasons are quarters, therefore a quarter is 250 years. It's like, why have you chosen 1,000 years as the thing to quarters so randomly? Like, why not quarter the entire 6,000 year time, 7,000 year time span of humanity? What's a quarter of that? Maybe that's a little season. It's relative to where you want to extrapolate the length of a season from. It's all relative, So I couldn't. I've heard that argument many times, and that speculation many times. You're like the 600th person to mention that to me, and my answer is still the same as it was when it first got said. And we don't know how long a little season is. Did you know the 4th of July? I've answered the question, Harry. I've answered it. Is the US military... It's US military plasma orbs. They use them like they did with the Hellfire video and the MH370, to make us attack a camp of saints like a mothership of these smaller multicolored orbs. I think it's a mix of tech and spiritualism. I think they're using both in tandem to convince us of an alien invasion. But these things have been here for a very long time. That's what I seem to think is going on with all of that. And I think the lines in the sky are in some way a parallel tool to all of that. Like, it all works they all work together. It's all one system. I don't think it's as simple as they're just trying to kill us all. I don't think it's that. I think it's a useful mechanism for their agenda. Whatever they're doing up there with those spraying is for something far more complex and bigger than we've probably imagined. I don't think it's just to kill us. I really don't. Have you seen the sun blinking? Says the real McCoy. I saw a video the day of the moon glitching out and moving around. Like, it certainly behaves like a computer program projection. Sorry, guys. The chat just jumped away from me there. I'm really interested in why the sun doesn't feel real anymore. No spiritual connection, just burns and is unpleasant, says Sabrina. It's interesting you say that, Sabrina. I agree. The sun, for some reason, hurts a lot. Like, and I said this in a video like months ago when summer was kicking in. Like, I'm pale, I burn. I go red if I'm in the sun for too long. I try to avoid it, I don't tan. You'll never see Paul Stobbs with a tan. It just doesn't happen. It's impossible. You want to see my legs. You'll be blinded from the white, but seriously, I don't tan. I just burn, and I avoid the sun for that reason. But when I am in the sun, and it stings now. Being in the sun actually stings. I feel like I'm actually a vampire. And in the past, that wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. So it was nice and warm and comforting. But if I'm in it for too long, I'll suffer afterwards. And I'll need to get the aloe vera out, But right now, it's like if the sun hits my skin, it hurts. Especially when it's high and it's hot, I immediately feel the burn, the sting. And that never used to be the case. That really never used to be the case. It's like it's piercing me in some way. And I get migraines, really, really bad, horrible migraines. And it's light sensitivity that tends to cause them, to be honest. Blue screen really messes with me, like blue light screens. Everything I have, it has a red light filter on it, everything. And if I stare at a phone with a blue light on it for even like 5 minutes, I start to get strains in my eyes and I really start to feel nauseous. And I start getting nerve pain down down my neck. And I just get really bad migraines, and it feels like travel sickness if you've ever experienced that. And the only thing that can fix it is I have to nap for like 3 hours in a pitch black, dark, quiet room. And any sound or light, once I've been triggered, makes me sick. Like I vomit. It's nausea. It's like travel sickness. The room starts spinning. And I have to be in a pitch black, quiet room, perfectly still, and just fall asleep. And then that resets me, and I'm back after once I wake up. But sunlight can do that to me if it's too intense. And lately, it's been triggering a lot more. So I have to wear sunglasses to stop it from triggering the migraines. And it's just, it never used to be so bad. It really didn't. Something's wrong with it. It's not right. I know what you're saying, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. I just know. I've just noticed a change in myself. But I don't want to speculate. I've heard so much speculation. It's been replaced with a false sun or something like that, or it's now a white light rather than an orange light like it used to be, and it's a simulated sun. It's a false sun. The real sun's disappeared or something like that. I don't honestly. I can't attest to any of that. It's just changed its state. That's for sure. Paul, have you heard that the US military has tech to project onto an entire naval aircraft carrier to disguise it while it's out at sea? Your talk of projections reminds me of this. Interesting. I didn't know that. That sounds absolutely terrifying and impressive. I'll have to look into that. Paul, do you think Nephilim built all megalithic structures? Yes and no. I think people used to be a lot bigger back in the day as well, and they could have easily built them as well. I think it wouldn't hurt to have a giant around when lifting those impossible to lift slabs and monoliths and stones, certainly. But I also think mankind had access to a different technology then too. Just a dude in. What's up, Paul? Not much, just chilling, about to end the show, so thanks for being here just in time. I've been healing and finally tanning again. I was like you, Paul. I get it. It's not good for us to avoid the sun. The sun is needed, so important. Well, I don't actively avoid the sun. I think it's been a bit more dramatic. I don't go out of my way to sit in the sun for too long. I never have. I just can't. I've tried to tan. Okay, it doesn't happen. It's never happened for me and never will. My skin does not have. Is it melanin? Like, not even a little bit. I've got nothing. I've got nothing to work with. Like, it can't happen. I just get more freckles and that's it. Paul, you sound like you need copper and good electrolytes, etc. Catherine, I've tried it all. Yeah, trust me, I do my best. Okay, it is what it is. The migraine thing has always been a problem since childhood. It's never gonna. I've had it for like 3 decades. It took me a long time to figure out the triggers. Aspartame or aspartame, in the sweetener in diet products, is a trigger too. And I don't drink diet products for that reason. It makes me have a migraine. My body reacts violently to it. And then Theresa May introduces a sugar tax in the UK, and now nowhere sells full fat Coke anymore. It's all diet products. Everything's diet. Nothing is sugar anymore. It's all sweeteners. So all fizzy drinks are now poison to me. No matter where I go, if I go to any restaurant, it's only the diet stuff on tap. Do you know what I mean? That's all they have, because it costs too much now to have sugar. And sugar was never really the problem. It was the sweeteners. They did a bait and switch on us. And everyone thinks they're being super healthy drinking diet products, when really they're actually just killing themselves violently and horrifically with poison. Thinking there's no calories. At least my poison is calorie free. Whatever. But it's a horrible life for somebody who's allergic to sweeteners. Red hedge to get blue parking badges for easier shop access, says Mr. Freeland. I like that one. I'll take the badge, sure. If you want to give me if I want to class my skin color as a disability, I'll go for it. I mean, I would love to be a white guy, be considered an oppressed class. Like that'd be rare this day and age, wouldn't it? You know. Finally I get to be an oppressed minority. Finally, it's my time for affirmative action. Finally. I'll fight for that. Why is the Bible still available to read if Satan's in control now? Because it's absolutely impossible to hide that Christ was actually here. There's too many books and scriptures everywhere, too many people reading it, and too many eyes on it. But what they can do is change where we think we are in the story. And that's what they did. Yeah. It's okay, the freckles are cute, says Stacey. Well, I don't know. Yes and no. They come out a lot more in summer and they just completely disappear in winter for me. I'm not quite like a freckled ginger. I know the light here like doesn't make it look like it, but my hair is actually not this color. Like this is actually like a filter I put on to edit the color a little bit because it looks a bit flat. But when you actually see my hair in light, real up close, it's more like an ashy grey, blondie, weird gold color. It's not quite orange. It's not ginger. My beard is, again, webcams always do this to it, but it's so I don't quite have the overt freckles of a ginger person, shall I say, but I certainly have typical Celtic complexion. I'll say that. Paul, my English baker side so feels this. Blessing and grace be unto your family always. Bacon, yeah. Thank you. And funny enough about bacon, I baked some cupcakes with my son the other day, and they were delicious. You just reminded me. The Bible is very powerful. If the enemy can twist it somehow, why wouldn't he allow it to be used as a tool on the table? False doctrination around it. Yeah, exactly. And look, it's impossible to hide that Christ was here. The infrastructure's everywhere. All the buildings and everything, and the artwork and the books it's obvious, like he was here. But what they've done is hide as much as they can and remove as much evidence as they can. But the Bible they just can't get rid of. There's too many copies everywhere. So all they can do with that particular book, although I'm sure they hid many other books documenting his reign, but that one, which is many, many, many millions and billions of copies of all over the earth. Well, we can't get rid of that, so we're going to have to just try and manipulate people's perceptions of it instead. So that's kind of what the devil did. Sorry for misgingered you, Paul. Misgingered you. That is a good one. That's brightened up my evening. Thank you for that. That's a good one. I like that. Three bear witness in the earth, the spirit, the water, the blood, and these three agree in one, says Mr. Jones. I don't know what you just said to me there. The blood is a witness in the earth. Ron Wyatt finding it fills that prophecy. Mr. Jones, I feel like you're just screaming random stuff, assuming we understand the context. Yeah, I don't understand what you're trying to say to me. I thought aspartame was outlawed in the UK. They did a study that found direct links to brain tumors, which my husband died from and drank Diet Coke constantly, says Maria. No, it's not outlawed in the UK. It's not. No, it's in everything. It's in everything, and I don't touch it. I avoid it like the plague. It's poison. It is the worst poison. And I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke as a teenager because I was conscious about my weight. And it turns out it was the Coke that was killing me and giving me constant migraines all the time. It took me a long time to figure out that was it. And I actually got healthier and lost weight after stopping Diet Coke, funnily enough, because the problem is with the sweeteners like that, it tricks the system into thinking you're having sugar. So it releases insulin, and it just becomes this whole nightmare of tricking your body and not having the reward, the things necessary to deal with the insulin spikes. And it actually makes you gain weight in the long run, and it actually causes obesity, as well as horrific cancers and brain tumors and the rest of it while you're at it, So I clued in quite young and stopped it over 2 decades ago. I don't touch aspartame. I check everything for it, and I just don't. I can't have it. I can smell it. I know when it's in stuff, and it makes me gag and it makes me sick. And even just the smell of it gives me a migraine now. I'm hypersensitive to aspartame, but yeah, it's in everything. It's in everything. It's pure poison. It's awful. Absolutely awful. I think people are starting to fight back against it now. I think petitions are being risen from like health conscious groups and things like this to get it banned. because it is. People have figured out it's the reason why we have so many problems in society. Health problems is it's a big one anyway. It's a big contributing factor. Soldier for Yahweh. Paul, I hope you're doing well, brother. I joined late, unfortunately, so I restart after the stream ends. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I have my diatribe at the beginning. You can go and listen to but we're just having a bit of a chat right now before I close off in a couple of minutes. I've been going for 1 hour 48. I'll go maybe 2 more minutes and we'll round this off. Mr. Freeland, just keep going. It's a process. You can't understand everything at once. The Lord needs to build upon the foundation one stone after another. I don't know what he's responding to there. Out of one book comes so many different beliefs, theories, etc. Yeah, well, yeah. I know it's an incredible book with a lot of thought-provoking concepts in it. That's for sure. If you look up Ron Wyatt's The Ark of the Covenant, it's powerful, use the sermon to decide if it's a must-see, though if you haven't. Isn't Ron Wyatt the one who believes he found the Noah's Ark as well? I've heard of Ron Wyatt before. People have recommended his stuff to me already. I don't see how his discoveries change much, really. But yeah, okay. It sounds interesting, though. Don't get me wrong. There's several reasons why Ron Wyatt couldn't and didn't find anything, says Wendy. So there's already it's been contested already there by Wendy. Fair enough. What about Himalayan salt being petrified? Nephilim remains, says Mr. Freeland. I can believe in that. Yeah, I think, again, the guests I had on previously can attest to biogeology and how most of the rocks and geological formations we see all over the earth are just the remains of giant living creatures. I can believe that. Our bodies only digest glucose. We do not process fructose. The fructose gets passed around organ to organ and sits and then is turned into visceral fat. Dr. Jamnadas has great work on this, says Chris Stubbs. Yeah, you understand. Yeah, sweeteners actually cause you to gain weight, not lose weight. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how this world works, though. Everything's backwards. So the diet products actually make you fat, Of course, that's the way it works in this world. Why wouldn't it work like that? What denomination are you, Paul, if you don't mind saying? I'm non-denominational. I don't have a denomination. There's, 52,000 denominations? Like, that's ridiculous. No. I'm just a follower of the way. I just believe in Jesus Christ, and I'm a sinner who's saved thanks to his sacrifice. That's it. I don't have anything else to say about that, really. I think most of our problems have been probably caused by the denomination factor. Watch the 4-part series, Days of Noah, The Valley of Decisions. Most excellent series that will help explain much to those seeking the truth of the Bible. Thanks, Catherine. We got Art in the house. Where's Art? Hello, chat. It's good to see you, man. It's been a while. How's the... You said you had something groundbreaking going on in the legal system in the UK. How's that going for you? The guy who runs this channel, is he of the tribe of Dan? Serious question, I'm being serious, says Sig. What? What are you trying to say? I have no idea what... I've heard a lot of this stuff before in the past, but I'm going to need you to explain yourself to me exactly with what you're trying to say there about me. It looks like the enemy of the Most High has deliberately caused division, aka denominations, and that has seemed to cause tremendous confusion. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what Satan would do in a little season, is it not? Don't be deceived, brother, and look up how much money has taken from people throughout his years. Paul, what would be your plan if the shit really does hit the fan? What would you do? Where would you go? In the UK, there's nowhere I can go and there's nothing I can do. I literally have to just pray and try my best to look after my family and get by as easy and as smoothly as I possibly can and prepare as much as I possibly can for the worst scenario. But there's very little. There's no really. I'm an island, very small island nation state and every bit of land is accounted for and trackable. Like there's nothing I can do. I've considered maybe trying to leave the country and go into America, but for that to happen, I would need a lot of money and a lot of foreplanning, unless I try and claim refugee status or something like that from a tyrannical government. I mean, I suppose the only way this is ever going to be safe in the UK is if Trump invades the UK and takes it back by force and saves us all, and gives us American values and freedom. Like, I don't know what. It's hard to really plan for stuff like this here. There's not much we can do. I know that sounds depressing and sad and horrible, and I'm not trying to put a downer. But I mean, let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic. If it's a real shit hit the fan situation, and it's like death and destruction on the streets, then you lock your doors and you hunker down, don't you? As best you can for as long as you can. And just pray. If you had the opportunity to bug out anywhere in the world, where would you go? Again, I mean, where's safe? Realistically, where am I supposed to bug out to with a wife and 2 kids? Like, what am I supposed to do? America would be ideal, because that's probably going to be the last remnant bastion of any kind of freedom. But even America has its problems, serious problems, so it's kind of, what am I supposed to do, really? I notice a lot of Americans are moving to the UK. Says, I don't know why. That doesn't make sense to me. But I think that's the irony of it all. It's like they're all moving away thinking it's better somewhere else. The grass is always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't, I'm bugging in. Yeah, I'm not bugging out. I'm going to bug in. That's right. Hunker down and settle in for the battle, I suppose. Check out Jay Dreamers. He's got an interesting idea about the plasma and the sun. I know Jay Dream as well. He's in the chat quite often. He's been on my channel. I've been on his channel. Yeah, I know all about his work. I've been watching that guy for a long time. Yeah. Don't be deceived, brother, and look up how much money he's taken. It's all right, guys. I think the chat's coming to an end there. I still say we smuggle you in, and the fam, says Wendy. Yeah, I'm coming in, an illegal immigrant in America. We'll work something out. No, I mean, I've considered it, trying our best to get to America, maybe living there instead. But it's kind of at the same time, it's like, is it better anywhere? Like, realistically, you guys have better weather and more cool stuff over there. I'll say that much. Right, guys, I'm going to leave that there. We're almost at the 2-hour mark anyway. So thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to this little therapy session. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I hope you enjoyed my little speech at the start there, and just sharing just a little bit of stuff. Nothing too crazy today. I'm sorry the show came late. Like I said, we've been dealing with internal home stuff, and it's just been really tough in the evenings to get anything done because of of children and just other things that I don't want to bore you with. It's not and it's none of your business anyway. So it's been like that. But I have been working on things that are coming very soon. Like I said, the interview with Michael for the Hacker Prince is available to members right now and to patrons soon. But that will be available to the public within the week, hopefully. I also have another my other channel, Understanding Creativity. I have obviously released one on MK Ultra recently on there, so go check that out if you haven't already on my other channel, Understanding Creativity. But the second half is going to get released soon too. That the one I did, I think it's on something like 34,000 views. It went viral. It's incredible, and people are really liking that. So go check out that on Understanding Creativity if you haven't already. The Occult Art series. And the second half of the recent episode is coming out soon on that channel. So that's something to look forward to. And obviously that'll get released to the public too soon. But I also have an interview with somebody, a Christian brother, who's actually started his own animation company, who has worked with many big animation companies in the past. And they're making their own anime based around Christian principles. So that's interesting. That's something that's coming very soon to Understanding Creativity as well, once that gets edited. So yeah, lots in the pipeline, lots in the works. And I am literally booked up all next month with interviews. So I'm going to be on many other channels, and people are coming on my channels as well. And we're going to have lots of conversations about all sorts of things coming in the future too. And my usual 2 live shows a week when possible. Live Q&As and the Truth or Therapy sessions. And I'll be giving my 2 cents on events as they happen here and there, for what it's worth. So thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate it. If you want a signed copy of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns, I have a batch down here. I have 5 copies left of this batch of 10. So if you want a signed copy, email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com and I can get that out to you. If not, buy yourself an audiobook on Kindle, or if you want is it Kindle? It's Audible, isn't it? Or buy yourself a copy on Kindle or on Amazon. If you don't mind it being signed, you can do that instead. And that's the best way to support me. Please consider being a patron. That's another great way to support me as well. And what else can you do to support me? There's PayPal. If you want a commissioned drawing doing by me, I do that too. Go check out some of the videos on there. We can sort out a price if you email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. And also, guys, this jumper you see here, you can get yourself your very own at the merch store. Links down below. So I think that's everything I can kind of close out and chill with. I'll leave that there. But no, guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And as always, God bless.